Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today's video is going to be a doozy video about this right here, AC Pro, which is a way to recharge your air conditioning inside of your car or your van or whatever you drive out there. And why is this important? It's because we are getting to those summer months, we're getting to those hot months. We want to make sure that our ACs are up and running, and this way is a great DIY way to do things. So stay tuned for this entire video, and we're going to go through all of the steps on how to use this and what you need and just all of that good jazz. So here we go. Okay, so before we get started, the things that we are going to need in this video is obviously the AC Pro, and today we're using the digital reader, which is the best that is on the market as of right now. We also need some gloves that are in my back pocket, because if this thing does spring a leak, we want to be safety first. If that refrigerant gets onto our hands, we don't get frostbite from that. And we also want the goggles that are on top of my head, because obviously our eyes are very important. We don't want that refrigerant going into our eyes. And last but not least, we want a father figure or some sort of parent to be in the video with us, because wisdom or something like that. They probably know more than we do as kids. We are going to, before we actually pop the hood, well, we can pop the hood at the same time, right, Dad?
Gentlemen, start your engines.
Most hood releases on most cars are right down here, where you just pull up, and then we'll pop that in a second. But we do have to, before we even check the PSI, we need to make sure that Dad can start the car. There you go. You want to make sure that you put your AC on full blast?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, please put it on full blast.
On this car, that's the recirculating air, that's the AC. Fan is on full. Okay. Well, since I just did this last year, let's check to see how much pressure we have, if it will take another charge.
You actually used AC Pro on your last year, like you just said.
That's right. AC didn't work at all, so I assumed, as I've experienced in the past, that there was a slow leak somewhere, or a major leak for that matter. But I figured I'd give it a whirl and recharged it.
Dad, do you mind removing that digital reader? Because we don't even need that on to actually read the engine. We disconnected the top digital piece because we're gonna get a readout all right now. Dad, what are you plugging that into, by the way, before we kind of go into
low pressure port, I think they call it.
Yeah, the low pressure port. There is a high pressure point, but you know what? That will actually not click into the high pressure valve. That is only going to be able to be good for the low pressure. Now, we actually have no idea how this has held up over the last year. Hopefully we are going to need it.
It's held up pretty well. I mean,
but
35 pounds, it's right in the middle of the green zone. We can give it a little bit more, but it's this stuff has chemicals that'll seal up the leaks, and apparently it's done its job, so it's held up pretty well for the year.
What's really nice about having the AC Pro with the digital reader is you can actually use it the way that we're using it right now, is to, obviously after a year, my dad put this in a year ago because it was getting to summertime and it gets a little hot and it's a little humid here in the Northeast. Even though it is a convertible that he's in right now, it still rains every now and again, and you want to have that convertible up and you want to have that AC cranking. This product right here has a leak prevention, which apparently it's done because he had a leak in it last year. We'll put a little bit more into it, but before we do that, we need to actually make sure the engine is off.
For safety's sake, it's probably best to turn off the engine. As much as you don't want to get cold, the engine gets warm.
Now, for safety's sake, we actually turned off the engine at this point, just to fill up the air conditioner and making sure that it was all good and dandy for us. After holding the trigger for 15 seconds and releasing it, all of the stuff that you need to know is right there on the digital reader as you are doing it. So it's really easy to read. It tells you what to do as you're doing it. That concludes the AC Pro refrigerant
recharge.
We're gonna finish up here. Obviously any DIYer can do this. You can do this in the middle of anywhere.
Pretty simple.
All you have to do is go and pick it up at a local auto store. O'Reilly's carries it, AutoZone carries it. I like the digital reader quite a bit. Gives it a little bit of extra security. It's a little bit easier to read. It's foolproof when it comes to making it done right. So thank you to Pops over here. That's what my nieces and nephew call him, is Pops. he wants to top up because apparently it's going to rain tonight. So we'll see you guys next time. Stay tuned for any more videos that I do, not just about apparently car recharging ACs, but van life videos, tiny house living, sustainable living, solar, all that good jazz. Later.